Hey folks, welcome to the Gardener's Workshop Live. It is the Christmas shopping show and I am really thrilled to be here with you today because you just wouldn't even believe what's going on behind the scenes, right? So we are also streaming on Instagram this morning. So hey Instagram followers and Facebook followers. So we have 2 hours of fun stuff really lined up for you. So as you can see with all my papers here that they have provided for me, so we started doing this 2 years ago, and we found that people just really appreciate seeing why and how we use some of our stuff. It's like, you know, that kind of our special niche here at the Gardener's Workshop is that we only sell those things that I actually used in my garden and on my farm, the stuff that I use. So we don't offer a vast selection of individual, say, tools or supplies. We just offer those that I have just really, you know, found to be really helpful and oftentimes multitasking. And so I just thought we're going to share a lot of that with you. So we have a lot of stuff lined up, including some specials, and anybody that places an order during this 2-hour shopping show is going to get a free gift. And that free gift is my sweet book about Farm Dog Babs, the sweet brown-eyed girl. I wanted to be sure I said that completely right. If you've been following me for a while, you know exactly who Babs is. Babs was our golden retriever, and she was quite a character here on our flower farm. She dug her own turnips. She picked her own tomatoes. She was so sweet. We would take her to the farmer's market every week, and she had a longer line than anybody else did at the farmer's market. So this is really, I mean, if you're a golden retriever lover, this is a no. I mean, this is definitely something you want to have. But if you have kids in your life, this is a super sweet picture book. So this is a mix of some of the great, first off, look at Babs running through the garden carrying flowers. That was just typical of Babs. And this, I'm really, wait till I show you our new t-shirt. This was one of the images that we took with Babs in our lineup. She was like one of the farm hands, right? So I just want to give you a little glimpse of this. So these are just images, great images of Babs doing the stuff that Babs did. And this is what everybody that places an order during this 2-hour period will get this free in your order. Babs helped to pick beans. Unfortunately, she also picked the entire plant. So this is a super sweet book, and she was just the sweetest golden retriever ever. And she had quite a following, and that's why we created this book. So we want to give that to you free. And I'm first going to talk about my books because I would love to personalize and sign a book for you to gift to somebody, right? And I'll actually sign some here live if that works out. So first, you know, my first book that was published in 2014 was Cool Flowers. And Cool Flowers has actually done the opposite of what my publishers say happen with books. You know, writing a book, y'all, is so different than what, you know, we actually think it's all about. First off, it's the hardest job I've ever done in my life. It takes about a year. And I understand totally now about writer's block. And what writer's block is, it's not like you think, oh, I have writer's block. Writer's block is at the breakfast table at 5:30 in the morning, me saying to Steve, I just don't have another word to write. I've written about everything. I've included all the information. That's writer's block. You think you're done. You're so far from done, really. But Cool Flowers was really a challenge for me. I shared this last week how right when I started writing Cool Flowers is when the farm that neighbored me started to be prepared to be sold and subdivided. And it was a surprise to us that it was happening at that time. And it almost derailed me. I actually posted a podcast about that. And anyway, so Cool Flowers was my first book that was published by a publisher. And this is about that group of flowers that are called Cool Season Hardy Annuals. And they kind of fell by the wayside several decades ago. And it really happened when gardening kind of fell away. You know, we've now, in the recent years, gardening is now more popular than ever. But back when my parents were raising children, gardening just wasn't like it was for their parents. And this group of flowers, because of their awkward planting time, just really kind of fell away. And so for me, when I launched my flower farming career in 1998, I read Len Basinski's book, The Flower Farmer, which if you have not read that book and you're even thinking about being a flower farmer, Len's book, who is a really good friend, is where you actually start on that. So I read Len's book, and it was like during the summer, and when I was all pumped up to start flower farming, it was the end of summer, and that's what made me pursue her little nuggets in that book about a few flowers that were actually able to be fall planted for some people. And that was the beginning of Cool Flowers, y'all. So I wrote this book, and it's an easy read. I would love for you to share it with your friends. What we have experienced is we sell more Cool Flowers today, and it's been 2014 is when it was published. So what is that, 7 years? So unusual. So I would love to autograph one. We also have made a book study and a lot of other great resources that come along. We don't care where you buy the book. If you buy it from us, I get to sign it for you. But if you buy it from the other big booksellers, then we still want you to have the free resources. There's a planting guide, the Cool Season Flower Chronicles, the book study, and what you need to do if you want me to customize signing a book for a gift recipient, is in the comments when you're checking out, be sure to put who to write the book to. And if you have, if it's happy birthday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is that you would like for me to write, I'll be happy to write that for you. So Cool Flowers is really about introducing people to spring like they've never experienced before. And it'll give them all the little tidbits they need to do that. And then here is a sleeper book. This is what I call Vegetables Love Flowers, because Vegetables Love Flowers was published actually in 2018. And this was a book that we wanted to introduce particularly to vegetable gardeners how powerful flowers are in a garden, meaning they invite all the beneficial insects, they invite in all the pollinators, and there's just no better way to prepare or to actually, let's say, have a constant source of those flowers constantly blooming in a veggie patch than with a cutting garden, y'all. So Vegetables Love Flowers is not about growing vegetables at all. It's about a 3-season cutting garden and how it benefits a vegetable patch. And I think the name misled a lot of people. People don't understand that. And so I understand because of the name. But that's what this book is really all about. It's kind of like a sales pitch to the vegetable person in the beginning. It's like, because what did I hear all those years I traveled around and lectured? What did I hear from, particularly when I would do these big conferences that were not just about flower farming, they were about either gardening and farming in general. There were lots of veggie gardeners there. And they would say to me, why in the world would I give up 1 square foot of my vegetable patch to flowers? When I got finished with them, after I gave the talk, which is what this book is all about, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm going home to do that. And so Vegetables Love Flowers is a great one. There's also a free book study that goes with this. And also, I was just so honored to recently be a guest on Joe Gardner's. That's the Joe of the PBS show Grow a Greener World. he and I did a podcast about this book and about all the benefits. So I would love for you to take a listen to that. You can follow that through our website or go straight to the Joe Gardner Show, and let them know you heard about it here. So Vegetables Love Flowers first tells you why you want to have flowers in your garden, and then the rest of the entire book is about how you can have a cutting garden, what my 20 go-to half warm, half cool flowers are, how to maintain a cutting garden, harvesting tips, and then y'all, the secret sauce, succession planting, right? Succession planting, whether you're a veggie or a flower grower, is really what it's all about. And this book also has diagrams in the back that help you to see about the succession planting. So check it out. I would love to sign one of these for you or for whoever you want to give it to. This is a great gift. So Vegetables Love Flowers is $25.99, and Cool Flowers is now $22.95. So, and then we also have, let me look at my list. Then you can also purchase these with seed collections. And also, here's the other thing that I really want to just emphasize, and if you're one of our followers, you pretty much know I just shoot straight from the hip, and I'm very truthful, just like I have to turn around and wipe my nose, y'all. Sorry, I have my fall allergy rage going on. What you're hearing from retailers about ordering early is not a hoax. It is not a way to get people to buy earlier. It is a reality. We have stockpiled the things that I'm telling you about today because we know that we probably cannot get them again once we have to restock on some of them. So order early, right? So the other thing I wanted to add is we offer our books in several different ways. So let me just look at my list so I don't screw this up, right? So where's the seed collections? So how am I supposed to get this chart? All right, so this is the Cool Season Hardy Annual Seed Collection. You can actually buy these together with a little bit of a discount. And so you will find that if you go to our website, and I'm sure the girls are posting links to all of this stuff, you can. And if you're with us over on Instagram, if you want to actually see and have access to the links to actually just click and go to these products, join us over on Facebook. If you don't know, if you aren't one of our followers on Facebook, if you go to my profile in Instagram, one of the links that you'll find in my profile link is to go straight to our Facebook page. So you can give this as a great little set, and this is $40.95, so it's a great price point for a gift. And this is all of the seeds that are included in the seed collection can be direct seeded or should be direct seeded. And that means that people that are experimenting will have better luck with that. And I will tell you that there is no better group of seeds to experiment with direct seeding than with Cool Season Hardy Annuals. So this is just a great set. Then we also have Vegetables Love Flowers can come with a summer cutting garden. Wait a minute, y'all. All right. So this is the cutting garden that is the workhorse of our flower farm. This is the original, believe this, like, oh my gosh, how long ago was it, sister, when Country Garden magazines came? I mean, it must have been in the early 2000s. Actually, I think it was like 2007. I created this seed collection way back then when we were featured in Country Garden magazines. And it's like the workhorses of our cutting garden. It is the big giant, Benary's Giant Zinnias, which is the most commercially grown and the most productive, the most mildew resistant, big, luscious zinnias that you have ever grown. So that's what's in here. And of course we had to include the Benary's Lime Green Zinnia because green anything just helps you poof up and create space in your bouquets. Then this little guy is the Oklahoma Zinnia. So the Benary's Giants are about this big. The Oklahomas are about this big. And y'all, the Oklahomas actually are my favorite. They're the ones that are on my kitchen table all summer long. And both of the zinnias are in mixes. So you can really plant this little 3 by 10, yes, 3 foot by 10 foot cutting garden. And you will have a big old handful of cut flowers every single week, all through the warm season. Also, we included our go-to favorite sunflower, which is the Pro Cut Orange. And if you have been following along, you know, I do a Facebook Live every Friday at 6 p.m. normally. The time does change with seasons. And we start our weekly sunflowers together. Of course, we're over for the winter, but we'll start back up about 4 weeks before our last frost in spring. And the orange is our go-to cut flower for our bouquets. I mean, we talk about everything, about how you control the size of the sunflower by spacing. This is the size sunflower we're looking for to have for our bouquets. And if you're selling to commercial people, this is what they want, y'all. Those big sunflowers are not very useful. And then, y'all, what is perhaps one of our most, one of the crops that we're most well known for is Cox Comb. Cox Comb is an amazing cash crop. It's an amazing pollinator plant. It's an amazing flower to have in your garden, and that's also a mix. Having the mixes in this seed collection means that you can, you know, have different looking bouquets from week to week. And then we have our secret weapon, basil, the 2 varieties of lemon and then of cinnamon that you use for foliage to make your bouquets smell as delicious as they look. And you can buy, of course, you can buy the seed collection separately, but you can buy this set, and how much is this? $40.95 again. So you can find them individually and together. Then you can also, if you need, let's just say you need to have 2 Babs books. You want to gift them. I mean, if you have grandkids, you want to hear what? So because we sold this book for a long time, what we heard from parents or grandparents, what their children say about the Babs book is they feel like Babs is looking right at them. I mean, it's really pretty sweet how that goes. So what I'm getting at is there is also a 3-book set you can buy. It's called the bundle. And you would get this, but then of course with each order that's placed during our 2-hour shop and show, you get a bonus Babs book for free. So there's more seed collections actually on our website, and I think I'm going to be talking about them again in just a little while. So what we want to do now is, first off, welcome everybody that's joined us. This is our 2-hour shop and show. It is live on Facebook Live and also on Instagram. And I'm just so glad. This is really pretty exciting. We are actually doing this 2 weeks earlier than we have ever done it before because we know the post office post office is who we use primarily for our shipping. And post office, UPS, and FedEx are all just given warning after warning that it's going to take longer. So we wanted to do this so that everybody has time to do their Christmas shopping. So should we move in and do seed starting? All right, so we're going to move into another room, y'all, and y'all know us. We're just like doing this by the seat of our britches. So we're going to walk into the next room, and I'm going to show you some seedlings, and I'm going to show you how we soil block on the farm. So stand by, y'all. I need prices for kids. All right, folks, so now we're in a different part of the warehouse. We were just in the foyer. For anybody that doesn't know, so about a year ago, We had to move off of the farm. We needed more warehouse space. And so we're now actually in the center of our fulfillment center, where we have warehousing in the back, and in the front we were actually just in part of the seed vault. And so perhaps seed starting is what launched my career as a speaker and a teacher all those years ago. I would not be a flower farmer today if it were not for soil blocking. Because I live in the middle of the city, right? I couldn't have green or hoop houses. And I just thought I could never start enough seedlings to actually be a commercial grower, right? And so in Lynn Bazinski's book, The Flower Farmer, which I highly recommend, you check that out if you haven't gotten Lynn's book and you want to grow great cut flowers. In her book, she mentioned Elliot Coleman, and that led me to pursue him. And I read his books, and that's where I was introduced to soil blocking. And he is just really he's kind of like I am, black and white. There is no gray area. He just kind of tells you the facts, and that liberated me to become a great seed starter. So the way he started seeds was soil blocking. So, and literally, these are my soil blockers from the farm. I brought all this stuff up here this morning. So these are soil blockers, and these are actually manufactured in England, and we import them from there. And just a super sweet story. We didn't do that, Rhonda. I was going to rewatch my interview. So last year, during our shop and show, or actually right before, so all of the girls here on our team Zoomed with who we call the sisters, who actually manufacture the soil blockers over in England. And their family took it over from the originator, which was Mr. Ladbrook. And we just loved getting to know them and to talk to them and to hear about their process and how their entire family is involved in building these amazing little tools. So all of us are supporting another small business, actually two small businesses over in England when we actually use these tools. So the story goes that Mr. Ladbrook had a brother who was a gardener, farmer. I'm not sure I remember that part, but he was starting a lot of seeds. And he and his brother, actually, they were English. They went to Holland to visit, and they saw growers there using something that was creating these blocks, but it was just not a simple process. So Mr. Ladbrook, who was an engineer, came home, and he actually designed and created these tools. And so he went on to produce them. Well, I guess 12 or 13 years ago, he was ready to retire. And the sisters were looking at starting some type of business. And one of them had a mutual friend who knew Mr. Ladbrook and heard about his business. You aren't going to believe this. This is like the sweetest story ever, y'all. So that mutual friend introduced them, and they ended up, the sisters, and there's actually a brother in there too, they actually bought Mr. Ladbrook's business. And this is the sweet part. It turns out he lived so close to where they were going to be doing their business, he would ride his bicycle over and help them for the day, stay and have lunch and tea, and then go home. I mean, he helped them transition into it. So, and this is what we have. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the blockers. So this is the 3/4 inch. This is the one that we actually use like 98% of the time. And I'm going to make blocks here in a minute and tell you. The only time that I don't use the small blocker is when the seed is just too big to fit in it. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. I'm going to need some sweet pea seeds. Yeah, maybe you already have them over here. Perfect. So, the only time you don't use this is when the seed is too big. And why is that? Because this little blocker, this is 20 3/4 inch blocks. This is only 4 2-inch blocks. This blocker takes up to 12 times the volume of blocking mix, which we're going to see. It is special. You can make it at home or you can buy it ready-made from us. And it takes up more space and more product. And so me not having a greenhouse, using shelves just like these shelves behind me with grow lights on it, I needed to be space savvy. So I'm going to actually make some blocks and I'm going to show you how I do that. So the next thing that I want, thank you. The next thing I want to show you that I think a lot of people don't quite understand, and I'll help you to avoid this mistake that I had to make first, right? There's a reason that we sell, are y'all seeing this? We got these yesterday. We've been waiting 9 months for them. This is an English-made tray that is the bomb for soil blocking, which you'll see here in just a minute. We sell different size trays because you don't want to mix different types of seeds or even sometimes even different colors on the same tray, because what we've learned is that seeds, even within the same family but different colors, will germinate at different rates. So let's just say you've sown Snapdragons on this side and Sweet William on this side, which is what I see people doing from time to time. And your Snapdragons germinate and your Sweet William still hasn't germinated. And you've got them on the heat mat, right? Well, what do? Do you take off the tray and get in those ones that have germinated and get them to light? Or do you leave them and let them start stretching and getting tall and rangy? So that's why we sell, and I use on our farm different size trays to fit the number of seeds that I am actually doing. You want to have the most efficient size tray to fit the volume of that particular seed that you're starting. So on our farm, as we've downsized from high production to a small market size, this tray is absolutely perfect. This will hold, I think it's 5, but let's just try it out here. So I'm going to actually make some blocks. And so we don't offer this, but this, friends, is the best mixing tool for soil blocks. It is a potato masher, if anybody didn't recognize that. I have actually been asked at a class before, what is this tool? You can find this at the grocery store if you need it. And this is just the best. So, Suzanne, do you want to come closer and kind of tilt the cameras down in if you'd like? So the blocking mix that we use is a mix of peat moss, compost, and some nutrients. Ready-made, and we also always offer the recipe so you can actually make it at home. And I want to just stop and talk about that for a second in case once we get involved in this seed starting thing here. So one of the things that folks just really, especially if you are going to be making volumes of it, you can make your own at home using either, it calls for peat moss, or you can use cocoa fiber. This is a brick. You drop this in water and it expands into like 2 gallons. And we also have it in the larger brick size, which you'll be able to see. So I'll show you those. Here you go. See the big one up here? That makes 20 gallons of a peat moss replacement, right? So the DIY mix recipe is on our website. And it comes with all the block. It's on your instructions that actually come with your blocker. It also comes with instructions on how much water. I don't know if you're seeing just how moist this is. It's almost like kind of a mushy oatmeal. And that is the secret to getting it to come out of the block. So we're going to make the 20 3/4 inch blocks first. And so this is just my little habit. I need a little bit of water, girls. Oh, here we go. So oftentimes, I had already pre-mixed this. So basically the water to mix ratio is 3 parts blocking mix to 1 part water. And if you have trouble getting the mix to come, the blocks to come out, you need to add more water. All right, so I like to create a mound so I have something to drive the blocker into. And this literally, girls and guys, this is exactly how I do it. And so I'm gonna make several of these so we'll get to see them. You just clean the bottom off. And so the other part to these trays that is so significant is this is a flat bottom tray and there are no drainage holes. This means that you can do it anywhere in your home. And so what I don't like about ridges in trays is that water can be trapped in there that's not being absorbed. And that means that that's a place for bad stuff to grow. And that's why I don't use ridges. And also, it just strengthens the bottom of the tray. And because what people don't realize, this is a super dense blocking mix. There's no vermiculite or perlite in it. And so let's just plunk these out, and I'm just going to keep making blocks. So you just slide your fingers under and give it a push and a pull, and there you go. There's one block. And let's do it again. And so this small tray holds 40 blocks. And so you notice I'm twisting it. And before I just pull it straight back up, if you notice I'm kind of swiping it to the side. That is because the blocker typically will get suction to the bottom of the tray. And it will suck your soil out. You want to just strike the excess off. Put it on your tray. And there you go. And see how it's pulling up on the edges? In a perfect world, y'all, I would add the water to my blocking mix about 24 hours before you actually make it. It just makes for, it's kind of like how making bread and stuff. You know what I mean? The soil just absorbs better. But I'll be honest, we just don't ever have that luxury. So I want to just talk for just a brief second about how I place blocks on the tray. So let's do another tray while we're doing this. Let's do this big one. Where I place the cluster of blocks on a tray is really all about the best way to water the blocks, right? So once you water with blocks placed not where I'm about to show you, you're going to realize what a mistake you've made. So on a tray like this, I typically try to put all the blocks to one side. There you go. I better do that. So let's fill this up as quickly as we can here. And yes, I will tell you that on our farm, when we were in high production, we're starting about 100,000 seedlings a year throughout the seasons, doing exactly what you are seeing me do. And frankly, we are pretty quick at it. So I'm leaving just enough space between the clusters so that water can flow. And notice how I'm leaving myself a trough on this side, because you never water blocks by pouring water onto the blocks. You pour the water up against the side of the tray so that it doesn't wash the blocks away, right? Once the blocks get roots, like I have some seedlings here to show you. Once the blocks have roots in them, they aren't nearly so fragile. But at this point they are. And see, I'm a little crooked right there, right? But so what'll happen when I go to water these is I use a little watering can with the spout. I'll pour the water in with it, kind of the pressure going up the edge of my tray, and that prevents that from happening. So I want to make some 2-inch blocks. Can I have another small tray, please? So the 2-inch blocker takes a lot more, and you're going to see that in action right here, right now. So let's get rid of this, and thank you. And so the technique for making the 2-inch block is a little bit different because it takes more soil, right? And so what I didn't mention is the volume of soil that you see here in my tray is 1 small bag of blocking mix, which is what this is. This is what comes in our kits, and this makes actually like 500 to 600 of those small individual 3/4 inch blocks, but it only makes like 30 of the 2-inch blocks. So does that give you an idea of just why you always choose to go with the small blocker? And even when you are making a lot, when you know you're going to be making a lot of soil blocks, I still recommend using this volume because it's the easiest to work with without if you have too much blocking mix in your tray, it makes it more difficult. So now let's look at the 2-inch blocker. So the 2-inch blocker comes, it actually comes with this white nipple, and that makes an indentation in the 2-inch block to receive a seed. For instance, like zucchini and squash and sweet peas and sunflowers, all of those are just too big to actually go into the small blocker. And so there's 2 purposes for the 2-inch blocker. It's for those big seeds, and the other one is to be able to move a plant from the small block up into the 2-inch blocker. And I will tell you that the only time I actually do that is when we're trying to grow plants bigger before they go to the garden. And for us here in the South, because I mean, this is complicated for some people. Those of us in the South, we have a long growing season, so we tend to plant smaller transplants. But if you're in a region where you have a super short warm season growing season, you may want to grow your transplant a little bit bigger. We do not do this on many of our flower crops. Basically, I'm just thinking the only time I pot up a flower from the 3/4 inch to the 2-inch is eucalyptus and Dusty Miller, because they're just super slow growers. But what it works great for is tomato transplants and eggplant. So it comes with this, but you can also purchase these black insert. That's what these are. You literally just pop those nipples out and pop these in. And what this does, I'm getting ready to show you what it does. So the technique to fill this up is just a little bit different. What I find the problem is that the end blocks, you just have to be aware that they don't fill as easily. So you have to really scoop that soil up. So this is that small tray, and it holds exactly 2 sets of 4. And I'm going to actually transplant them up here. See how it's got the perfect little hole in the top? Let's make a second set so you can see that again. And so I just make this long. And you can see that this 2-inch blocker just gobbles up the soil. And, you know, we use it when we need to use it, but we only use it when we need to use it. And that is why, because of the volume of soil that it actually consumes. All right. Y'all, you know what? You get an amazing appreciation for people cooking on TV after you try to do stuff. So I'm putting them close together, but yet so that I'll pour my water over here and the water can freely flow all around the blocks. So what I want to show you now is, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to show you some seedlings, and then we're going to actually, we'll pretend one of them is a tomato transplant. So these are some cool flowers that I actually borrowed from the farm. They were planting, and I went out there and snagged them up. This is Godicia. And so this is, let's see if I can do this without murdering them. So that is a 20 block of 3-week-old Godicia that we would be taking. I mean, its brothers and sisters were planted out on the farm on Thursday. And so what I would like for you to see is check out the roots on these guys. And let's just break these apart. I wish you could hear the roots. Look at the roots on those guys. And so let's just pretend for just a moment that this is a tomato transplant. And while that you could plant that outside, I wouldn't recommend it. We like to get ours a little bit bigger. So we start them in the small block, and then literally to pot them up to the next size, that's it. Can you see that? And that is how you pot up. But I want to say again that we do not do that. You know, it's a big difference between home gardening and farming. If you're a home gardener, you can really get imaginative and grow plants a little bit bigger in soil blocks. But as a commercial grower, what we have perfected is that we grow 98% of all of our flower seeds in the small block and grow it to about 3 to 5 inches high, and we go straight from this block out and plant it straight into the garden. And by the way, both of the books, Cool Flowers and Vegetables Love Flowers, talk about soil blocking, as well as when you purchase the kit, the soil blocking kit, it comes with my seed starting online course with the kit that takes you through all of this. So let's talk about, and here I'll give you a look at these. This is Sweet William. That again, it's the size that we would, these were all planted on the farm on Thursday, all of the others, and Sweet William is always a little bit floppy, but they do absolutely beautifully. The transplants, soil blocking creates transplants that are not root bound. They just hit the ground running. So let's take a look again at, I'm going to pick these up again. And this is literally how I plant, y'all. We pick up clusters of 20, put them in our hand, and literally this one's a little immature. We're going to drop him in there. Let's get a little bit bigger one. I want you to see the roots. We literally just break them apart. And these have not been watered this morning. Look at those roots. They really, really look great. So I have two cameras here, friends, so I'm having to show everybody. And let's do it again. I mean, when you plant that, they just hit the ground running. They suffer no transplant shock. And so soil blocking is an amazing way to start seeds, but particularly for those of us like me that have no greenhouse, it is super home and space savvy. So let's talk about a little bit what you do after you start your seed. So I first want to show you, oh, you know what? We're going to plant some sweet peas in there. So let me just gather up my stuff here, friends. And these little blocks are a lot more durable than we think they are once they get roots in them. So you do need to be careful, but you don't have to be super duper careful. So let's just say, and in fact, these aren't the best blocks back here. I didn't fill that enough. See the difference between the blocks? The edges of these, I just didn't fill it quite full enough. So now, let's just say that you're not really transplanting up, but you want to plant sweet peas or squash or sunflowers. I don't change back to that nipple. You can just use your blocker, your 2-inch blocker with the insert still installed on it. And so sweet peas are something that we definitely start. Can I have a stick? Like a pops? Oh, I got one over here. So this is literally how we sow sweet peas. Sweet peas are a bigger seed, right? See, I'm dropping them. Whoop, they're rolling out of my hand. Don't know if y'all can see that. They're literally look like a little pea, right? And I'm literally just dropping one into each hole. And I'm actually going to do all of these because I'm going to keep them. And the way that I cover them is literally I just pick up with my little stick a little blob of soil and literally just cover it up. And that's it. I think the thing that people, they can't believe how little handling you need to do with soil blockings. People tend to want to mess with them, and you know, it's like keep your hands off the blocks. Notice that I'm using a stick. You want to protect the integrity of the soil block, and by using a stick instead of your finger, you don't put too much pressure. And so I have just covered the sweet peas, and that's it, friends. And then you would follow the steps that we're getting ready to go through of what you do after you sow the seeds. But first, I want to plant some Snapdragon seeds, which is one of the seeds that I get the most questions about. And so we'll actually do that here on this small. Is that a good spot for it, sister?
Yeah, and you should show them how to do zinnias too.
So we're going to sow Snapdragons and zinnias. So this is what we call a seeding tray. This is actually like a little laboratory tray. It's aluminum. The reason we use this is aluminum has no static electricity. What time is it, please? And so we don't, you don't realize how much you're chasing. What is it, 1027?
47.
47. The other thing I failed to tell you guys, first off, remember that you're getting a free gift with Babs, but we're also giving away a free t-shirt, our new t-shirts, which I'm getting ready to show you. And we're going to just randomly pull those from the comments. If you put your t-shirt size in the comments, then you will be entered to get the actual t-shirt. And remember this, friends, if you're one of our online course students, comment with your sunflower emoji. We love seeing our students here. So we use this aluminum seed pan because aluminum has no static electricity. And if you've been using a little plastic dish, you just don't understand how much you are actually chasing the seed. My tool of choice is to use a toothpick, this tray, and y'all, a little saliva. I just spit on it. And literally, when you touch your toothpick to the seed, that sticky saliva just literally pops that baby right up. And I am just picking up a seed and firmly placing it on the surface of the block. And I can't even tell you how fast this goes when you're not reaching across a tray like I am right now. And I only pick up one seed at a time. I also follow a kind of a method of the way I go so that if I get interrupted for whatever reason, then I know where I am. So I'm touching the moistened toothpick with saliva to the seed in the pan and then just firmly placing it on the surface. So the aluminum really makes the difference. I just can't tell you how that revolutionized my... I mean, found out that I was spending more time chasing the seed than I was anything else. All right, so we planted Snapdragons. And that's all you're doing for that. And now, so I'm not even going to show you zinnias on the same tray. We're going to change trays. So, you know, you need to read your seed packet, whether a seed needs to be covered or not. So Snapdragons need light to germinate. That's why we sowed them on the surface, right? Well, zinnias need to be covered. And so I'm going to show you how I do that in some of these blocks. So just imagine that this whole tray was ready and made for zinnias. So this is what zinnias look like. They look like little arrowheads. And I don't really use the tray. I mean, I literally dump them into my hand like this. And the way that you sew a zinnia is I literally just put the pointy end down first. And that's it, friends. Her tails are still sticking out. And it doesn't help to put way many seeds in your hand at one time because then you can't grab them up. So I just try to get the pointy end and push it. That just makes it go into the block so much easier. So literally just pushing them in. And again, this goes really quick when you're focusing on what you're doing and not doing it on camera, right? The zinnias are really easy because you can at least see where you've sewn. So if you lose your place, you can kind of find it again. And we're going to talk about the rest of the process here in just a second. So that's it. Marigolds are planted this way, and zinnias. And so if you have and cosmos, so you can poke the seed down into the small block. And again, the reason we choose to do this instead of using the big block is space savviness and the use of blocky mix. It's just a better use of your resources, right? So let's just say that this whole tray is sewn. Well, actually, so what I would like, girls, well, we can use these. Now I want to show you the next steps. So I'm just going to kind of push. So y'all are going to have to hold for a little stage update here. I think I'm going to get rid of this. Hopefully nobody steps in that. And so what is the next step? All right, so we've sewn our Snapdragons, and we've sewn our zinnias. So this is our small Seedling Heat Mat. This is the #1 question that I get about the process of seed starting. Do I need a heat mat? Well, friends, let me tell you. So here's the general rule. Most seeds germinate best at 75 to 85 degrees, okay? And then people say, well, or they're thinking to themselves, my house is, 72, so I'll just bump it up a little bit, right? But that's not how it works. If the air temperature is, let's just say 75 degrees, the temperature of this mass of soil is 15 to 20 degrees cooler than the surrounding air temperature. So if your house is 70 or 75, that means the soil is 60. And that explains why people have such a horrible time getting seeds to germinate in their house. And worse yet, where do most people sit their trays? On a windowsill, the coldest spot in the house. So that's why we have to use a seedling heat mat. So our seedling heat mats, which we have 2 sizes. This is the small one, and then we have a much larger one if you're a commercial grower. They have a built-in thermostat. That's why there's this little thick thing here in the corner. And this heat mat heats up 15 to 20 degrees warmer than your air temperature. So it's like a perfect fit in the home situation, right? So I want to talk about cool flowers for just a second. So cool flowers, sometimes people think, well, if it's cool, it doesn't need a heat mat, but that's not true. It definitely needs the consistent 24 hours, 7 days a week warmth, but it needs it just a smidgen cooler. And my hack to take care of that is, the cookie cooling racks that we actually put on, put cookies on when you bring them out of the oven. We have our seedling heat mat on our surface. We just put cookie cooling racks over top of them to create a very small space. And that space just cools that consistent warmth down a smidge. And that's what Cool Flowers loves. Cool Flowers love seedling heat mats with cookie cooling racks with an air temperature of about 65 to 70 degrees. Because they want their soil warm, their air temperature a little bit cooler. Now, for warm season stuff, zinnias, Cox Comb, all of those flowers, they want it just straight warm, so you don't use the cookie cooling racks. You leave them on the seedling heat mat until 50% of the seeds show life. So, you know, we're going to be watching like every day, right? And so once you see a seed starting to crack, that means it's on its way to sprouting. Once 50% of them do that, we remove it from the heat mat and move it over to the light. But I want to show you something else we do on a seedling heat mat. First off, on the small tray, you can fit multiple you can fit actually almost 4. Just depends on, you know, what you're actually doing and how you place. So you can get a lot of seed starting power on a small mat. You can get a whole lot more than that on the actual large mat, which I think it lists it in the description online.
20 by 24.
So that's how we do. So you can cram a lot more on there than you think you can. And that's why I tell people, we call it our seed starting freight train. We don't start all of our seeds all at one time. I mean, the girls can't even get them all started at one time. We start enough to fill up our seedling heat mats, and then typically stuff starts popping and it's moving off, so we start every few days more and more. But this is what and I've got a piece here, I've got to move these to do this. So what we have found that has been really effective to help us with more sprouting, particularly on seeds like snapdragons that are sown on the surface, they are predisposed to really dry out quickly. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not around to mist my blocks 3 or 4 times a day. It is just not possible. So we have found, because of Elliot Coleman's guidance, I do not use domes. He felt like that was really a really, unless you monitor it heavily, you are really encouraging fungus and diseases like dampening off. For us, we found that the wide weave burlap really does both jobs. When we just lay it, it comes in a much larger piece than this, but if you just lay it on top of your freshly sown seeds, it traps enough moisture, but yet it lets air through. So it does both jobs, right? It's kind of like putting straw down on grass seed, right, out in the yard. Does the very same type of job. What you need to be careful of is you need to really watch, because those seedlings will pop right through the burlap, and you'll pull them out when you pick them up. So the first signs of life, we remove it. And so 50% of our seeds have shown life, right? And then we're going to pick up and move over to the light. So Suzanne's going to have to move with me. All right. So we already have our seedlings. And now, first off, so this is our tabletop grow light. It's 12 inches by 24. And somebody tell me the number of seedlings. Doesn't it tell you online how many this will support? Oh, it's 4 times 60. 240, y'all. Sorry, I did my own math. So this is the large tray. This holds 3 sets of 20. So there's 60 plants on this size tray. This grow light will accommodate 4 of these longer trays. So that means that you can grow and support 240 transplants under this little grow light. We also have larger grow lights. This very same one in a 48-inch size. It is deeper and longer, and then we have ones that hang, and the hanging ones are what we use on the farm. So this is what's really cool about the grow lights is you can move the light up and down as your transplants grow. And so this is about the perfect height. I'm looking for about 2 to 3 inches above the canopy. And if you have something tall down here and something short here, you can actually make it happen. You know, you can make this down lower. So you can really do a lot of tweaking to make the grow light. So we leave the grow light on. Do we have a timer up here? So the secret to grow lights is that they should be on 16 hours a day. She's going to get me the timer. They should be on at 16 hours a day, and I'll go down another rabbit hole. Because we have so many lights in my grow room, for years I had multiple grow lights. What?
It's 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock, y'all, so we only have 1 hour left. All orders placed during this hour get a free Babs book. I would love to sign a book for you. And if you want to be entered into the free T-shirt, just enter your shirt size into the comments, and we'll be pulling that before long. Grow lights should be on 16 hours a day. And so ours come on at 6 a.m. and go off at 10 p.m. And if you think you're going to remember to do that, you may for a week, but then it won't. So that's why we sell the grounded timer. So I had like 10 or 12 timers literally in my grow room. And then about 4 years ago for Christmas, my husband gave me, he had an electrician come and install a room timer. So all the plugs are on a timer automatically. But this is what we use. This turns them on at 6 and turns them off at 10. This is what we use until you kind of like gardener gone wild and need an entire room like I have, right? So you'll find the grounded timer. It's a part of the kit. And you can buy it also separately. And so we have a book to sign, but hang on just a minute. Let me just, so the grow light is on 16 hours a day, 2 to 4 inches, 2 to 3 inches above the canopy. And once the plants are looking like this, like, all right, I have more plants to come into the light. I need to make some room. I would move these outdoors to the hardening off process, right? And so with cool flowers, I typically do about 7 days out on my protected carport where they get morning and afternoon sun, some wind, but the rain can't get them. And then they go straight to the garden. And you can learn so much more about seed starting, not only in both of my books, but I have an online course called Seed Starting Made Easy that not only takes you through soil blocking, but also how to direct seed. So shall we move back indoors here? I mean, into the other room, and I will sign some books. I just left my papers in there. Thank you. So I'm signing a book to Nancy. So she got the set of the seed collection and the book. So let me just sign this to her. So thank you, Nancy, for that. All right, so we're moving on here because I wanted really in the second hour, I'm going to show you the T-shirt, but we're going to talk about a lot of great gifts for stocking stuffers and just anybody that has a home or a garden can really benefit from. So I need a T-shirt. Here we go. So these are our brand new super soft T-shirts that, of course, there are, standard green that is all about the Gardener's Workshop. And it has our logo. And we just love them. But look what's on the back, y'all. It's that image of all of our farm feed, including Babs. And so this is what size? Is this the extra large? This is the extra large. This is my size. And I typically, when I wear T-shirts, I roll up the sleeves a little bit and tie it in a little knot. So it goes from like a plain old T-shirt into a super cute little accessory, right? But this would be a great gift for anybody. And these are what, 20 bucks, $19.95? So this is a great gift for anybody and can go into a stocking.
Put your size in the comments.
And so be sure to put your size in the comments, and then you'll be entered to get the free T-shirt, which we'll pull in about 10 minutes, right? So we're going to pull the free T-shirt at 11:15. And so hopefully we have some of y'all putting your size in there, and we'll send it to you, and you'll have a free T-shirt. All right. So y'all have heard me talk about the gloves that we actually wear on the farm. And so we literally live in these gloves. Anybody that has these please post in the comments what your experience is. These are Atlas Touch gloves. And I will tell you that I've been wearing these. My sister-in-law gave me my first pair right after I started farming. So, I mean, like 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago. And I have never come through the end of a pair of gloves of these guys. And so I wear a medium. And we've got all the different sizes here. So I'm just going to pop these open and show you how you want them to fit. So you want them to fit really like a surgeon's glove. We literally sow seeds in these gloves. You really can feel, they call them touch because you can really feel with them. And they aren't just for gardening, y'all. I had cousins that milk cows in them. Mary Maids wear them. FedEx wears them. Post office people wear them. Golfers wear them. Quilters wear them. And why is that? It's because of the amazing grip. And if you have arthritic hands, I have a pair of these in my kitchen drawer to open jars. They are the best gloves ever. And we did not start calling them that on our own. When Suzanne and I used to go to this huge Christmas shopping show for years, the Bazaar, I mean, we'd sell thousands of pairs of these gloves. And women walking by would say to other women, those are the best gloves ever. So we kind of call them that. And they are. They are machine washable. I put them on a boot dryer to dry them. And they come from extra small. They tend to run big. I'm kind of wear a large. I mean, I have pretty long fingers. But this is a medium and they fit perfectly. They come from extra small, which there are lots of women with small hands. And these do a really great job. And then we have small. And then there's large. And the Atlas Touch are the pretty colored ones, okay? And they're a little bit lighter weight. They also come in the black version, which is called Tough. And they're a little bit more heavy duty. And I'm going to try these. These fit the very same. Where's the medium? Here it is. So the mediums fit just about the same. And they kind of stick together. These are new ones. This is the best part. We have brick masons that wear these. And they are pretty dadgum amazing. And I'll tell y'all know how I tell everything, right? When we're working on the farm, we often chuckle to one another when we come out of the restroom and say, I almost forgot to take my gloves off to go to the restroom. Because you just kind of forget you have them on, because it's not like other gloves where you're out in the garden working, you go to do some little intricate job, you pull your gloves off and lay them down, and then your golden retriever takes them. You will never misplace or lose these gloves because you'll put them on in the morning when you go out, and you'll take them off when you come in. So they are machine washable, but I tell you what my sister does. She just puts them on, doesn't take them off, goes to the sink and washes her hands as she normally would, and then hangs them up. Or you can use the boot dryer. So I feel like I'm all discombobulated here, but I guess it doesn't really matter, does it, friends? These gloves are on special for $5.95, y'all. This is like the bargain of the year. Now, you can buy a 4-pack on our website, and they're a little bit less than that. But you can buy these individually because when you buy a 4-pack, they have to all be the same size because that's how they're packaged. But when you buy them individually, they are normally $7.95. They're now $5.95. And if you want to give a glove, a gift that people will thank you for all year, there's no better thing. In our family, everybody gets new gloves every winter, every Christmas. Even though they don't wear out, there's nothing better than getting a fresh pair of gloves. And I'll say again, brick masons, FedEx, Mary Maids, quilters, golfers, everybody loves them. I wear the black ones during the colder months. They protect my hands a little bit more. When we're doing all that leaf work and that kind of stuff is when I pull out the black ones. Because if you try to wear these in the summer, you quickly realize they are heavier duty than the colored ones are. And so you want to get them to fit like a surgeon's glove. And best ever, you do not get to select the colors because they don't let us select the colors. So we will They come in yellow, peach, purple, and pink. And we will select those for you. So I hope y'all are putting your sizes into the comments so that we can we're giving away one of our brand new swag T-shirts. And this is what's on the back, Flower Farming Crew. And I'll tell you whose legs are who. This is Suzanne, this is Bobo, this is Kelly, and this is me, and this is Babs. So we are going to pick a winner from Facebook and Instagram, Rhonda is telling me. So no matter which platform you are on, just enter into the comments what size you are, and we will send you, and then we'll be in touch with you, and you can DM us your mailing address and everything. So it has our sweet little logo with the bee on the front and the Flower Farming Crew on the back. So you don't want to miss out on that. So I want to just highlight, because I didn't do this earlier when we were talking about our seed collections. Seed collections are another great way to introduce people into gardening. And you'll find several on our website. So we already talked about the Cool Season Hardy Annual one, which is a cool flower one. And you can buy it individually, or you can purchase it with a book. This is our go-to. These are the workhorses of our flower farm that are in this seed collection. The seed collections come with diagrams on the back. It's just for a 3x10 garden. It's like a great introduction for anybody that wants to venture into gardening. And I'll tell you, I'm thinking of our one customer sister over in Norfolk. She has ordered this collection every year since we've introduced it. And it was introduced way back when we did Country Garden magazines. And so it's just super simple. It has some tips inside there. But here are the two that I haven't told you about yet. This one is the sunflower seed collection. It again is got the diagram. It's got all the instructions. They are all, they're all pollenless, so they make great cut flowers. Some of them are branching sunflowers and some of them are single stem. This is a perfect home gardener sunflower seed collection because the branching ones, the finches just adore getting those black oil sunflower seeds. Then this is one that has a super sweet story that I'm going to tell you. And when I get to the end of this story is when we're going to pick the T-shirt. So if you haven't already put your size in the comments to get our T-shirt free, you need to do it now. So this is called the Planet Pink Seed Collection. So many years ago, I think I tell this story in Cool Flowers. Many years ago, when part of our cut flower business is we do a subscription service, right? And so on Mondays and Fridays, I was doing these bouquet drop-offs on people's porches or at their businesses. So during this particular time, then we had 4 friends, couldn't believe it, that were actually going through cancer treatment. And they all lived kind of in our delivery area. So Suzanne and I decided that we would just add them to our list to drop a bouquet of flowers off on their porch each week, just to kind of lift their spirits and let them know we were thinking about them. And so we did it. And I have to tell y'all, as it usually goes, right, that we were the ones that felt like we got the most blessings from doing that. The cards and the phone calls that came from those 4 women. And one of them we still see and is one of our customers, mentions it every time she sees one of us. Just the encouragement and just knowing that people were thinking and praying for them. So one of those people, Pauline is no longer with us. She had really advanced lung cancer. And Pauline was, she was from England. I worked with her in my previous job. She's actually the one that pushed me to ask Steve out on our very first date, y'all. And she's the one that said, just ask him out. And if he says no, he's no good anyway. I can still hear her saying that to me. Anyway, Pauline would call me every week after I would drop her flowers off on her porch and just say that she couldn't believe that I grew those flowers. Just how she thought about us out in the garden, farming and gardening, and just how gorgeous they were, and she loved touching them. And it just really made us aware of how homegrown flowers really touch people in a special way. So that happened. And then imagine our surprise in just a few years that I was then diagnosed with breast cancer. And when that happened, we actually came up with this Planet Pink warm season seed collection. It actually has the story in here of kind of how it came. And it's got the giant jumbo Benary's giant pink zinnias. It's got the carmine rose. It's got the small Oklahoma pink. And then it has, for a little bit of variety, Pampas Plume, which is a celosia plume that has a lot of pinks in it, but it also has a little bit of green, yellow kind of color in it. Then we have pink Cox Comb, and of course our very favorite lemon basil. So this is really a super sweet, way to honor and spread the word about breast cancer. And you know, I'm the poster child for early detection. Mine was so small when it was found because I was predisposed. I was having mammograms long before they recommend, and it was found. So this is the kind of stuff we can do to create conversation and to help women understand why it's so important to go every single year and get your mammogram. So they're telling me stuff here. All right. So we have two winners of our beautiful t-shirt. From Instagram, we have Sewing, SEWINGON 74. You are our t-shirt winner. And I'm going to spell it again, S-E-W, Sewing on 74 is what I think that is. You have won our free t-shirt. And over on Facebook, our winner is Leah Fowler. And thank you guys so much for participating. We love giving stuff away, y'all. Leah Fowler is our winner on Facebook.
Email us your address.
And so if you would email us your mailing address, both of you, and that's just info@thegardenersworkshop.com, or you can DM me. And this is what they've won. And if you missed out but you still want one, this is what's on the back. This is like a great way to kind of share the love of flower farming too, and that's the front. So anyway, I just love the story of this seed collection, and it's just a great way to share all of that. So, what I didn't tell you about in there with the seed starting kits is if you check out our seed starting equipment category on our store, we have a soil blocking kit, which comes with the small blocker, the soil, the trays, the plant markers, 3 free packs of seeds. What am I forgetting, sister? And the small bag of ready-made mix. And so that gets you set up to soil block. But if you want to get your kit and be able to go from starting your seed right until you put it out in the garden, in addition to that, you can get the complete seed starting kit. That also includes the grow light, the heat mat, the liquid fertilizer that I use every week. I'm doing this by memory, y'all.
Row cover.
The heat mat, what else?
Row cover.
The row cover. The timer on the grow light.
2 more packs of seeds.
And 2 more packs of seeds, so you get a total of 5. And my Seed Starting Made Easy online course comes with the small kit.
Bag.
And it comes with a tote bag, which I haven't shown y'all that yet.
It's on the bottom of the thing there. And the grow light.
And it comes with the grow light.
And
so here is our tote bag. So when you buy the complete Seed Starting Kit, you not only get 5 packs of seeds, you also get this awesome tote bag. This is what I carry, and the burlap. That comes free with it also. The complete starting kit has the 24-inch grow light, the heat mat, the timer, the floating row cover, 5 packs of seeds, the soil blocking mix, and you can add the large blocker on at a little bit of a discount along with the actual blocker. Sorry, y'all, I gotta blow my nose. Sorry, y'all. So the complete kits, oh, here we go. Suzanne's showing me the catalog. The complete kits, if you go to our website, it lists everything there. It's really a great deal. And, you know, I know that you may not have noticed this, but we have not increased our prices for some of our stuff, like what we're talking about, that we have sustained price increases. So we have held our prices throughout this year. We don't know how long that's going to go on because, I mean, I just saw that the price of Christmas trees this year, I mean, I understand everything costs more, but we have held and honored our pricing that we came into 2021 with. So you can check that out. And also, if you want to be if you want to make your blocking mix at home, we offer the DIY nutrients, so you can mix all that at home, and it has the recipe. So everything is there. I, of course, am off track. And I want to add to our glove special, we also have kids' gloves. I mean, making a glove Christmas, y'all. Is this the only two?
Yeah.
So we have the Ducky Gloves, and these are all $5.95 each. The Ducky Gloves, which are super cute, orange and yellow, and they are for toddlers. And then this is for kids, and it's called extra small, and Kelly's boys actually tried it on for us.
Smalls up there too.
What's that?
The extra smalls fit kids too.
Oh, and the extra small in the colored touch also, here we go. So the extra small in the regular touch is just a smidgen bigger than these, but Kelly's boys tried these on, and they were like, what, 8 and 11, I think, and they fit really well. So make it a glove Christmas, y'all, because so many, I mean, what a great way to introduce your kids to gardening is to give them stuff to do it with, right? That really helps to get them going. All right, so I just want to look at my list. So we've talked about all of the gloves, and so I want to talk about some great stocking stuffers, y'all. But I also want to say this is our tote bag. This is available on our website. It's $19.95 also. I mean, to give a tote bag with a t-shirt inside of it, if you have a gardening or flower farming friend in your life, this would be a great swap gift at a garden club, at Master Gardeners, any of those kinds of functions. It would be really, really awesome. And so let's talk about some great gift ideas beyond that. So this, friends, anybody that has one of these, please chime in. This is called a Trake. And this is a closeout item for us because we can't get a consistent supply of it. These have been around. I wonder if it says on here how long it's been around. Known by its shape. I was just looking because we have sold these probably since 2005. It's an aluminum tool, and it's called a Trake because it's a trowel and a rake. This, for those of you that are like me, that are kind of aging up, as we all are, right? I love this tool because I can hold on to it when I'm down on the ground and reach and rake. I can reach things much further away from me. I use this for planting, particularly the 2-inch soil blocks. When I'm planting, it'll poke a hole in our Bio 360. Where is the Bio 360, by the way? Great for poking a hole in the Bio 360 and to make a hole for your 2-incher. This is awesome for doing whatever you do with a rake. So there's not many of these left because they are marked down, and you'll find them under the closeouts. And it's Trake. It also has a planting guide on here about how deep you're actually going to be planting it. So that would be a perfect stocking stuffer, right? So that would be totally awesome. So y'all, I'm looking at my list now. And I want to give a big old shout out to Suzanne and Rhonda, who are behind the scenes making this happen. Rhonda texted me at the last minute this morning as I was pulling out of the house to say, did you bring your pouch and shears? So friends, look at this. This is my pouch. Wait a minute, y'all, sorry. technical difficulty. All right. This is my pouch and shears that I use on the farm. This is my original pouch. This is what it looked like 20 years ago, right? So what do I love about this pouch? I love this pouch because it has a clip. You do not have to wear a belt. I do wear a belt now, but you can clip this onto your pocket. We live in this with this pouch on. I mean, that's the first thing we do in the morning. When everybody gets to the farm to work, everybody gets their pouch, slips it on, gets their gloves, and they're ready to work, right? And so it'll fit a whole lot of different size clippers, but this is the shear that we actually use on the farm. It's actually a bonsai shear, and it comes with a loop. Some people like that. I cut mine because it just annoys me. But when you use a pouch, you do not lose your shears, y'all. You never lay them down. When you've got this on your hip, you just put it right back in the holster. Because again, if you lay them down outside, then the phone rings or whatever, you walk away and you never see them again. I mean, we hear stories about people tilling up and all of a sudden clippers come to the surface. If you use a pouch, I know that some people like to use belts, but for those of us here in the South, it is way too warm and hot and sticky to do that. This really does not add to that problem. So isn't this a kit, sister?
Yes.
So you can get both the pouch and the shears for $50, and that's saving a few dollars, or you can buy them individually. We just love this Falco pouch. We actually have to special order it. Most pouches, you have to feed a belt through it, and this you do not. It just has the clip that you can actually slide it right onto your, whatever, your waistband or your pocket. Totally, completely love the shears. And see what else we've got. Oh, we have another closeout item. Check this out, y'all. If you have anyone of the male persuasion on your gift list, they adore measuring rain. There's something about measuring mileage, rain, and temperature that the guys are all about. This is the rain gauge. We only offer these during the holidays, so we have a very limited amount of them. If you notice how big it is, see the little floaty that's there? So you can literally read this 50 feet away. Like, for instance, the way I read it. I just read ours this morning. From my kitchen window, I looked out. You can see it from up to 50 feet away, and that's because the collector is 3 times bigger than the actual hole. That's why an inch, so that's 1 inch of rain right there. And when that little floaty floats up, it is super easy to see. And, you know, like if you have a weather bug in your house, you'll never have to dump it. You can mount it outside on a fence or on whatever. You just want it to be open to the atmosphere so that it can get all of the rain. I don't have any idea how much this is. $13, y'all, quick. I think we only have a handful of these left. So hopefully you'll get one. But this is just a great gift for the person that really wants to know about rain. And if you're a flower farmer, we have 2 rain gauges. One is on the side of my house where my kitchen is. The other one is on the side of the house where we do the farm work. So I can just quickly see, did we get rain this week? And I don't have to empty them because Steve is like totally in charge of that. So I want to show you one of my most favorite accessories, y'all. So there's 3 things that we get in summer when we arrive at the farm, when everybody shows up to work. We get our pouch and our shear, we get our gloves on, and we get our hat. So I'm going to tell you the story of the hat. So this is a Pith Helmet. It's hard. This is the hat that your mailman wears. I mean, who knows better what the best hat is to keep you cool and to be out there even in rain. So I was never a hat wearer. You know, I just couldn't find the right hat. I didn't like it. And so one day, and I think I wrote about this in one of my books too, so my neighbor, Oliver Hertzler, who owned that horse boarding farm next to me that was actually sold and subdivided, 4 years ago now, I was out there cutting flowers, and so Oliver would mow the pastures. And it was so funny, back then it was when I was still farming by myself. I was always overwhelmed, exhausted, hot, and just like losing my mind, right? As so many of us are when we're trying to figure everything out. And so I would hear Oliver's mower, because he had one of those big bush hogs that had the wings on it, So I would hear him long before he would come in. The whole time I'm out there cutting flowers, it's getting hotter by the minute. It's 11 o'clock. It's 98 degrees outside. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I do not have time to stop and talk to this man right now. I don't have time to do our fence visit as we would so often have. And so I just kind of acted like I didn't even see him. You had my back to him. I mean, it's obvious he's like 100 feet away from me with a big tractor. And so finally I go over to the fence thinking, oh my gosh, let's just get it over with. And he looks at me and says, what in the world is wrong with you? You look like you're about to pass out. What is wrong? And I just said, Oliver, I am so overwhelmed. I wake up every morning with a checklist. And when I go to bed at night, I've checked some off, but I've added more stuff. The list is getting bigger and bigger. And that's when he broke into the wisdom talk of that's how farming is. That it's because it's living and moving, we're always checking things off, but there's always more stuff being added on. And his analogy that he shared with me, he said, Lisa, on Saturdays, I take the missus and he was talking about back when he was farming. I take the missus and the boys into town. You have to know that he was talking about like 2 miles from my house, where it's all town now, but back then he was more rural because there weren't houses everywhere. That he would take them into town on Saturday, and he only farmed Monday through Friday. And if it didn't get done during that time, it didn't need to get done. And that was the beginning of my life of realizing there are things that are more important and effective than other things, and I'm the only person that can change that, right? And the other thing he said to me was, why don't you have a hat on your head? And I said, well, I don't have it right now. And he took, his was white, just like the mailman's. He took that hat off and handed it to me and said, put this hat on. And I ended up giving it back to him when I found this one online. These are the hats that I have worn. I've actually worn the same one for from the beginning of time until last year when my sister gifted me a new one. Yes, Suzanne gave me a new one. Actually, it was during this show last year. I brought my old sweat ring Pith Helmet. Here's what's so great about it. It has a band inside, so it actually keeps the hat from meeting where your head is. And it has a sweat band in the front. And because of the way it's aerated, you don't trap heat. I can wear it in the rain, light rain. This, friends, is the best gift you can give to any gardener or to any farmer. How much does it cost? $35. Y'all, I am a true believer. I love giving gifts that people really want and use. When they first open it, Rhonda told us a great story yesterday. What was it, Rhonda? What did he give her? She's disappeared. Rhonda told us yesterday a story about one of her sisters. I mean, it was her sister.
A thistle puller.
Oh, so her sister was given by her husband a thistle puller, which is like, I think, like a dandelion type weeder thing. And the look her sister gave her husband, like, I can't even believe you've given this to me for Christmas, right? The laser look. She is so in love with that tool now because they have a farm in an area where thistle is a huge problem. She couldn't live without that tool anymore. So giving gifts that are useful might not get you the biggest bang perhaps when they open them, but let me tell you about the phone calls they're going to be coming when they start using their gloves or their first rain with their rain gauge, or when it's 95 degrees outside. And this band is adjustable, by the way. It has Velcro inside. Super duper useful. All right, so I'm just reading the rest. What is not on this list that I need is our hand hose. I need a hand hoe and a stand-up hoe. So the hand hoe actually made Dr. Armitage's. Does anybody know who Alan Armitage is? Alan is a good friend, and he actually, we don't have any righties?
No.
Christmas.
Huh?
Not until probably the end of December.
Oh, so I'm just told we don't have any right-handed hoes, but I will. We're going to give a big old shout out to the lefties in the world. So Dr. Armitage actually listed our hose as a favorite Christmas gift. I was really pretty honored. It was like a fangirl moment, right? Dr. Armitage is pretty famous in the horticulture world, particularly in the cut flower world. He's got several great books. Recommend you check them out. So the hand hoe that he mentioned actually comes in a right hand and a left hand. This is the lefty. Right hand is out of stock already. We've already sold out until probably not until after Christmas, perhaps. You have to keep an eye. I think, do we have a sign up on the page?
We should.
So the way that you use these hand hoes, as you're going to see with the stand-up hoe here in just a moment, is when the blade is flat on the ground. So let's just say my hand is the soil surface, right? So a hoe, you shouldn't be digging deep and chopping that soil, because what that does is brings up more weed seeds from down deeper. You want to pull the blade of the hoe through the top one inch or so of soil, and you're pulling that blade through there. Think of a stick of butter, and you have a butter knife, and you want to keep the blade flat to cut the stick of butter lengthwise. You're not turning the blade, right? You're keeping the knife flat. That's exactly how a hoe should work. And our hand hoes are designed to use flat on the ground. And this is the lefty. So I am a righty. That's why it won't work. So because of the nature of the angle, lefties need a lefty and righties need the right? So this is the hand version. But let me show you what is even more of my favorite. If you need a right-handed hoe, there's actually a sign-up waiting list for them, and you can actually go to that product page on the website and sign up. Just like we had a long waiting list for those green trays, when they came in, those people were notified first before we start, telling the world. So this is our garden hoe. And do we have one that's open? So this is Elliot, it's all right. This is Elliot Coleman's Trapezoid hoe. And if you go to the product page, you can actually see a video of me using this hoe. But let me tell you what is super significant about this, friends. Comes in two pieces, first off. This is shipped separately. We provide you with the stainless steel screw so you can slide your head on, drill a pilot hole, and attach it. So here is the most significant part of this. The way I am holding this hoe is, this is what the head looks like. It is a super sharp. It is sharpenable. You can sharpen it, but this is spring steel. We import this from Switzerland. This hoe, if you don't leave it out in the weather, you'll be gifting it to your kids when in your will. Because you can sharpen it, but let me just tell you the fact that we don't sharpen ours on the farm. It's the design of this hoe that allows it to flow through the soil freely, and it doesn't even have to be sharp. Being sharp makes it easier to get bigger weeds out, but you do not have to have it sharpened, but it's always a benefit. This is the hoeing position. Thumbs up. That blade, if you can imagine what the blade, I can't lift it up high enough in here. That blade is flat on the ground just like this. And I'm just going to pull it straight through that soil. And if you want to see a video of that, go to the product page and go to the video tab, and there is a video there showing me, friends, I can hoe like 120-foot bed with, I think I'm hoeing 3 rows of bush beans in that bed, and it takes less than 5 minutes, literally. That is the secret. So by not going deep into the soil, by surfing through the surface of the soil, you are not bringing fresh weed seeds up, and each time you hoe, you're extinguishing any developing weed seeds in the surface, And before long, after 2 or 3 hoeings, you have exhausted the population of seeds in the surface. I mean, you don't realize just how effective this is. This is how I have such gorgeous direct seeded beds, y'all. We plant in a very deliberate manner, meaning we plant in straight rows. We allow enough room between the rows to run the hoe quickly and efficiently between those rows. And then we do typically 1, maybe 2 hand weeding in the row. But there's not many weeds because we get them all with the garden stand-up hoe. If you want to make a gardener's or a farmer's life easier and really happy, I think the garden hoe is perhaps one of the best kept secrets around. So let's see what else we should talk about here. And I'm going to show you several. So first, I want to mention some of the things that Jessie, so we have team members at home that are posting stuff and helping us out with that information. Suzanne and Rhonda are here with me, and Tucker is staring at me from the door. But so Jessie has a couple other things. Option to gift is at the bottom of the page. So if you want to gift one of our on-demand courses, there is a gifting option at the bottom of the course page. And so that is really a fun thing to do, especially if you know somebody that we have several on-demand courses. We have my Seed Starting Made Easy, which I think is $24.95, which comes free with kits, by the way. You can gift that. You can gift the Easy Cut Flower Garden, which takes people through beginning to end of the 3x10 cutting garden. Then we have a couple of great, oh, thank you, sister. So Suzanne's handed me the list. So we have those. Then also there's a Cool Flowers Beyond the Book for flower farming. But we have 2 great, bigger on-demand. Yes, I will sign. Somebody's asking, will I sign all the Babs books? Yes, they will all be signed before they are shipped out. We also have an on-demand course for the No-Till Micro-Scale Flower Farm, which was Jonathan and Megan Lee's. Highly recommend that course. I really love that course. Really shares also how they've made farming fit into their small family life instead of them doing everything for farming. You know what I mean? How we get consumed. That's a great class. Then we have Jenny Loves Making Workshops Work for You. There is no more profitable way, farmers, to create cash flow than to do workshops. Jenny takes you through, should you be teaching a workshop? What should you be teaching it about? Where you find students, how to do it during COVID, just everything about it. So check those out, and you can actually gift those. So I need to sign some books right quick, and then we're going to talk about a couple more stocking stuffers here. It actually has my favorite little tool. So here's one for, let's see who this is for. This is, Lisa sent it actually, and it's to Lisa of Buckskin Valley Blossoms. And Lisa is also getting a complete seed starting kit and some seed collections. All right, so this is to Lisa from Lisa. And I'm going to do for you like I do for, I'm going to put to Lisa W. From Lisa Z. Thank you so much. And here, let's do one for
Sandy.
And this one is for Sandra. I would like my book signed. My name is Sandy, and it is from my husband, Joe. Smart guy. To Sandy from Joe. You know, I was so honored years ago to learn from another author that I should always put, not just sign my name, that I should always include a thoughtful little phrase or something, and I've always done that. And anyway, I love signing books. All right, so let's talk about some great stocking stuffers. So we have 15 minutes left. A review. First off, everybody that places an order during, before noon now, we've been doing this for 2 hours, right? You get a free Babs book. They've taken it away from me. Oh.
Over there.
Where? Up here.
I'll get it.
I got it. The free Babs book comes with every order, and this is a great picture book if you have grandkids, or kids. This is a sweet little book that just shows the crazy life this golden retriever. Just such a funny thing. I want to show you one particular picture. We actually used to have birthday parties for Babs at the farmer's market, and we were given Babs cupcakes, and none of us could hardly eat them. They were so cute. And there we were the morning. This is the morning of harvest. This is like at 6 o'clock in the morning. We were all kind of sleepy looking, having a little Babs party before we got started. So you get that book free, and I'm signing them all. And it's just a really sweet picture book. All right. So first, let's talk about flower conditioning products. This is something, if you have a cut flower, if you have anybody in your life that loves cut flowers or is growing them or bringing them home from the store, there's just a really great, can I have some quick dip? She's great minds think. So if you are just a flower junkie, you're bringing home flowers that you're picking up, whether it's at the grocery store or at the farmer's market, perhaps. There's 2 products that you should probably have on hand. About Quick Dip. This is actually a hydrator. Have you ever had rose heads that their heads go down, they nod? That means water is not getting up the stem, typically because their stems are clogged. They're kind of shallow. Just put a little bit in there, and literally you bring home, whether it's your roses or a wilted hydrangea, that you're having trouble getting it to look beautiful, meaning it's not getting water. It's wilted in whatever way. Cut the stems. If it's roses, I would particularly cut about 2 inches off at least, if not more. And then literally quick dip just the ends of the stems into this product. If you use it ready-made, you don't mix it with water. And just hold them in there. It tells you on the directions for how long. It's just like 20 seconds, I think. Then you drop those stems into what I'm going to tell you about next. But I will say that this is a product that if you're bringing home flowers from the grocery store or flowers that have been imported, this is super helpful. Typically, you don't need this for garden flowers unless you have some of those fussy ones that don't want to hydrate. But this is a great gift to give to people that just pick up grocery store bouquets. It makes them last longer, y'all, because the flowers are actually going to be drinking. Because here's the little behind the scenes that you don't know. Most of the varieties of flowers that you find in grocery store bouquets that are not locally grown are actually hybridized to sustain life without water. What that means is they don't nod their heads when they don't have water. That is part of the characteristics they were bred for. So if you bring home a bouquet of flowers from the grocery store, cut their stems and just drop them in straight water, and they're not sucking that vase dry in 3 or 4 days at the most, your flowers aren't drinking. And when they aren't drinking, they don't last as long. So Quick Dip is a great product for that. So this is crystal clear flower food. And I will say that we use all these products on our farm. I wouldn't be going to this extra expense if we just did not feel like they really made a big difference. So this is the product that you use when the flowers are actually going in the vase. So if you're a flower farmer, this means this is what you should be rubber banding to your bouquets when you send them home with people, whether it's a CSA, bouquet subscription, or at the farmer's market, right? So this is, and what I love about this, and this is a real education too. How do I get into this? I want a whole pack. So while she's opening that, if you don't measure, what's the point of all of this, right? So if you just dump water in and dump this in, we use the double size packet. If you read the instruction, this is for 1 liter, which is how much? Doesn't even tell you that on here. I thought it did. Rhonda, how much is a liter? So,
Less than a quart, or more than a quart.
it's more than a quart. So those little teeny packets you see that are half this size are for a pint. So they aren't very, so you just need to measure is what I'm trying to point out to you. So read the instructions on your packet. And so we recommend to our customers when they get their flowers home, their flowers have not been out of water. They can just mix this according to directions and put it into the vase and put their flowers in. We recommend that 3 to 4 days in, that you just pick up your bouquet out of the vase, dump the water, rinse the vase. We cut another inch off the stems, and it's up to you whether you use flower food again. I mean, how long do you want your flowers to last, right? If you just drop them back into straight water, they're still going to go 3 or 4 more days because they've had so much nutrition. So that is totally up to you. We sell this in a 50 pack, and we sell them bundled for growers. So you can buy multiples, like I think it's 200 at a discount, 200 packs. But this is a super, I mean, you want to talk about a great gift to give somebody? Shears, a pouch, and flower food. I mean, that's, and a seed collection. Would that not be like the best ever? So that's flower food. Now, I'm talking to flower farmers, not to the home gardener, because you don't need to do these steps, because hopefully this happened before you actually got them. So this is a bottle of CVBN tablets. This is basically chlorine. That's what it smells like to us. And we put one of these tablets into each and every one of our harvest buckets. And why do we do that? This is not flower food. This is what's called a pre-treatment. So when we put this into each one of our harvest buckets that then go out to the field to be cut into, when that stem hits that water, their very first drink is it's the same thing like a swimming pool that has chlorine. Think about a pool without chlorine and a pool with chlorine. Which one do you want to stick your foot in? It's exactly the same thing with your stems of flowers. So we want that first drink to be bacteria-free, fresh, clean water that goes up the stem. That buys you a day or two, right? In addition to that, some flowers are a member of a group that we call the Dirty Dozen. And that Dirty Dozen, which are dahlias, daffodils, gerbers, marigolds, zinnias, sunflowers, they're the flowers that expel a bunch of debris out of their stems, which actually pollute the water more, and they're actually more sensitive to pollution. So they're like killing themselves, right? I mean, that whole cycle. So the CVBN tab really helps to prevent that from happening and delays it. And so we use these in every bucket on the harvest on the farm. So here's the process on the farm. Again, I'm talking to growers, not to home gardeners. So every harvest bucket gets this tablet. So then we have 2 different sets of customers. We have florist customers and we have retail customers. So those harvest buckets come in and they can sit in the CVB for up to 3 days, 72 hours. But they need to sit in it for at least 4 hours. So we harvest on Monday, we bring them into the CVB, we're selling our flowers to florists that day, so they're getting the orders together. We take those flowers and we bunch them and package them to go into buckets with that are going to florists. Florists are just like growers. They want their flower stems to stay healthy, but they don't want to push them hard. We don't want to push them with food, like that flower food that I just showed you, until it gets to the home person. So instead of using straight flower food, we use, this is called holding solution. This has some of the benefits of flower food and some of the benefits of the CVBN tab. It continues the biocide, it keeps the foliage green, and you tear one off, and you would just drop this into the bucket that you're preparing or the water that's going to your florist. This keeps those stems healthy and happy while you're getting them to the florist and they sit at the flower shop until they get put into a vase, and then they use flower food, right? So does that make sense? Harvest bucket is CVBN tablet to pre-treat and kill bacteria. When it goes to florist, We then drop in a tea bag. Let's just say that you're selling to supermarkets and it's a smaller bucket. There's two sizes of tea bags. The small size is for those small black buckets. These are for a gallon of water, which would be the regular 5-gallon size buckets. So you want to know the benefit of this is you leave this floating in the water. First off, that tells everybody on your crew, hey, there is already food in there. Secondly, your customer sees this floating in the water and they say, oh, wow, they really do know what they're doing. They're really using professional products. So that's why, because you can get the holding solution in other ways, like in liquid or powder that you measure. I can't tell you the efficiency. We use a measuring stick to fill our buckets, and then all we have to do is drop this in. It streamlines the entire process. And I can't see, let's see, we just have 5 minutes left, and so I'm finishing off with 2 great stocking stuffers. This is our Sod Knife. That's what it's actually called. This is made by the same Japanese company that makes the bonsai shears that we use for all of our harvesting. We love this thing, y'all. It's like a Ginzu knife. We use this for cutting greens. We use it for literally sawing plants out of the ground. Like a lot of times I'll cut the center of a perennial out instead of digging the whole thing up to split it. You can harvest with it, kale, all that kind of stuff. I literally use this to cut the string off of my tiller that gets wrapped around. This is like the knife that won't stop. Even when I have probably 6 or 7 of these around the farm, many of them are rusty because I've left them out. They still work great. This is $10, I think. I don't have the price of this. I think this is $9.95. This is the best. I mean, this is for anybody that does anything outside. It comes with a great little holder. So that's called the Sod Knife. It is $9.95. What a deal. And then this is one of our favorite Master Gardener tools. This is who we've learned about it from. It's a Hori knife. We use this for, you use this for things that you should not use your shears and your shovel for. When I run into rocks in the ground that need to be pried up, again, for splitting stuff, digging stuff up, we actually plant with it. I know a lot of people plant bulbs with this. And this is made, again, by the same company. We love our Japanese company that makes these great gardening tools. And so this is, and you know, y'all, you could even keep it under your front seat of your car and have like a weapon if you needed it, right? I actually had a little old lady tell me that. This is a great all-around tool. So friends, we are coming to the end of our time. And I do want to say that the glove special, $5.95 for all the individual gloves, that's $2 off a pair. That is the Touch, the Tough, and the children's gloves. That is going to run through the weekend, so you can continue to buy those. If you get your orders in before 12 o'clock, you'll get a free Babs book. What else am I forgetting, sister? And you know, hand me some of our swag. We put into each one of our orders, we have, you don't know what you're going to get until you get it. But we have pins, we have cups, we have sticky notes. Suzanne's getting them for me. We love our sticky notes. I mean, these are all over at my house. And then we also, if your box is pretty much comes down to what will fit in your box best. And then we have Gardener's Workshop cups that we send. So you get, I mean, we just love you guys, and we appreciate your support of our small business. Next Saturday, the 27th, is actually Small Business Saturday, and we'll have some little specials going on. If you haven't already signed up for our farm newsletter, you can do it on our homepage. That will keep you in the know, and for any specials that we have running. But I do want to just say again, y'all, it is from the bottom of my heart telling you it is not a hoax, that there is definitely a supply chain problem. And so shop early, get what you need, and then if things are still available when sales come up, take advantage of it. But I would not rely on that. So friends, what am I forgetting, girls? Anything? So get your shopping done. We love spending our Saturday morning with you. And friends, until we meet again. And hey, T-shirt people, be sure you send us mailing address so we can send you and get your t-shirts while we have them, because this is a test market. We're going to see if you guys like them, then we're going to start carrying them all the time. So till I see you again, friends. Ciao.